Kim Jong-un has been warned not to take risks with nuclear power stations. The secretive nation, led by Kim Jong-un, is frequently crippled by power shortages, especially since international sanctions imposed severe restrictions on oil and petroleum supplies. Pyongyang is keen to develop alternative means of power supply, especially nuclear, with North Korea watchdog 38 North reporting that rapid progress was being made on a 100 megawatt thermal experimental light water reactor (ELWR) at the Yongbyon Nuclear Scientific Research Center. And Oleg Shcheka, an independent consultant and a former professor at Russia's Far Eastern Federal University, warned this could ultimately have disastrous consequences. Just 1 week before the disaster's 32nd anniversary, Mr. Shcheka, who works out of Vladivostok, near the North Korea, said the country's nuclear power stations were to a large extent based on those of Russia, which in many cases trained its scientists. GETTYDigitalGlobe imagery showing steam coming from the turbine building at North Korea's 5 MW reactor. As such, most of the reactors in the country were likely to be similar to the Soviet RBMK-1000, the same model which malfunctioned so spectacularly in a region of the Ukraine 65 miles north of Kiev in 1986, Mr. Shcheka told 38 North. Such a simple design feature, together with the desire to crank up more power to generate electricity, inevitably leads to an increased risk of disasters associated with human errors as well as imperfect operation and protection systems. The most tragic example is the accident at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant in 1986, when the plant's staff, running the reactor in an experimental mode, made gross errors while manipulating the graphite moderators of neutrons. The concern is that the North Koreans may attempt to launch nuclear power plants with substandard and poorly tested reactors. Doing so would keep with the North Korean tradition of sacrificing safety standards to accelerate construction of high-priority industrial facilities based on the political and economic realities of the DPRK. One can assume with a high degree of certainty that the North Koreans will try to wring out the maximum capacity from their nuclear reactors. He stressed that attempts to push RBMK-type reactor beyond recommended safety parameters were fraught with risk, with a Chernobyl-type meltdown likely to have dreadful consequences for the region and the world. Mr. Shcheka said, a huge territory could be contaminated with radioactive substances, based on the reactor's power-generating capability, and depending on weather conditions, such as strength and direction of the wind. Up to 100 million people in North and South Korea, the eastern provinces of China, in the south of Russia's Far East and on the west coast of Japan could be exposed to mortal danger. While North Korea's nuclear weapons program gets most of the international attention, implications of Pyongyang's pursuit of civilian nuclear energy should be a concern, too. Indeed, just as already happened with the DPRK's nuclear and missile program, which, unexpectedly to many, has made great strides in a relatively short time. It may not take very long for North Korea to launch power-generating nuclear reactors whose technical parameters may be far from the best standards of safety. Any search for solutions to the Korean nuclear crisis must take this concern into account as well. The disaster, which claimed the lives of 237 people as a result of acute radiation sickness, with long-term health effects including increased cancer rates for people living in the area, and 1,000 square mile exclusion zone remains in force around the abandoned power station.